where were you clapping there?
What do you mean?
That was so far off. Is it just because you have a shotgun mic?
I don't know. I didn't clap too far away.
I don't know. It sounded like it was 12 years away.
That's funny. No, yeah, it was like right next to it.
Damn. You know what else we're right next to?
What?
A fantasy town that we need to build.
I am not right next to it. I'm actually in a town.
There are people there in that town, right?
A few, I think. Last time
How'd they
checked.
get there?
I want to say that some guy was really lonely and sat down at a desk and then spent hours and hours writing down their names and thinking of their personality traits and, their occupation and whatnot.
That's what I like to think about as well. Putting a little spice in there, an affair or two here.
Oh, yeah, fair's always good.
A secret devil child that they're trying to exercise,
Yeah, just fun little
Denton's a
plots
casual
here and
town.
there,
Yeah.
And then let it fix itself out unless some crazy band of adventurers get involved.
Yeah, screw those guys messing up the status quo of our town. How dare they?
I would have gone away with it too if it wasn't for the meddling group of adventurers.
God. And
Scooby-Doo is just like D&D.
Where are you? I've got some... I don't remember the song.
Well, Scooby-Doo, where are you?
Can you all tell that we are slightly tired because we're recording this at 9:49 p.m. on a Monday afternoon?
Yeah, we've both been doing stuff today.
I just ran an entire session of D&D, which, how on topic, I've been sort of, having my players experience Matt Colville's The Daily Tomb while I bide time so that I can make my first town.
What's your review score of The Daily Tomb?
I think it's hard to review something like that because it's so bare bones, but I think it's like a solid 8.5 out of 10 because you can do anything with it.
Yeah. A good stepping stone into the world of D&D.
Precisely. Like, you could give it a 10, but I wouldn't because it's so just kind of like a placeholder. You can do whatever. Yeah. Beginner-wise, it's an 8.5 out of 10 because you do it, your people go there, and you repurpose it for anything. There's supposed to be a secret room with some sort of undead at the end after a bunch of goblins. And, I made mine a fancy knight dude who sparred with the others just to test to see if they were worthy of being his knights. Of course, he had a misunderstanding. They were just there to loot and leave.
Loot.
God.
Aren't we always there just to loot?
But Ryan,
yeah,
that is your name, and I'm Braxton.
Yeah, this is Dungeon Crawl. What's up? Welcome back.
Hello. Feels like it's been forever since we recorded an episode.
Hasn't been that long.
It's been a few more days. Now you're doing what I do now. But my characters are now about to go back to the town. And if they had gone straight to the town at the beginning of this campaign, let me tell you, it would have been kind of boring and a hell of a lot of improv, and I would have forgotten a bunch of it for the second session. How
possessive you sounded there. My characters. They're not your characters.
They're my players. They're my player characters, not yours.
Whoa.
No one else's.
What if... imagine how awkward this would be. Just like cheating in, a relationship. If you find out I was DMing your players on the side...
Then break up with them.
Yeah, let's say you just hop into it. You somehow get invited to the wrong Discord call, and there's all of us.
And they're like, "Man, this is so much better than."
Oh, Braxton, it's not what it looks like. We're just having a good chat.
And then I go home crying, like an anime girl with toast in my mouth.
You'd probably already be home at that point if you're on the Discord.
Yeah, because I can't go to any session.
So you just
could do them here, but I ain't got no.
Then you just walk over to your bed and then start crying.
Yeah. And then I would go to finish my town for no players because I broke up with them.
That's so sad. Well, actually, to make a long story short, that's what I did whenever we were in between games. I would just prepare. I'd just like, oh, this is fun. I'm going to sit over here and prepare a whole town that may never get touched. And luckily they have.
That freaks me out.
Well, I like world building. World building is relaxing for me.
I do too, but the process that I'm going through right now, and again, it's kind of like what Matt Colville's been doing. You get a spreadsheet, and you put some, I don't know, shops or stores or vocational things, and you put people within those shops that do those things,
as you
that
do.
Know the other people, as one does.
Yeah, you can't have an empty shop.
No.
Oh, you could, and that could be a plot line. Why is it empty?
Yeah, what happened? Why is he gone? Went to slay the dragon. Go help him.
Holy cow, what a badass.
He is a badass. You know, Orgvar, the orc armorer. He's a badass, but he's gone now. Nobody has armor.
I feel like that he got made fun of though, in growing up. Orgvar, the orc.
I don't know. You could be dumb like me and make up names on the spot. Hey, don't make fun. That's rude. You gotta be inclusive here. But making up names on the spot's tough. So it helps hard. If you prep.
Yeah,
and Ryan does a lot more of that than I do.
We definitely, I think we should really have, maybe this will be our next podcast, have a session or a podcast just talking about what should go in a DM's binder. I know you don't have one, but your DM binder is kind of just like your OneNote.
Yeah, it's the OneNote thing that you gave to me, so I could set that up.
Yeah, but there's a lot of extra things that I have. I have like a physical binder that has so many different random roll sheets and just different things to help me improv on the go. And it's helped me immensely. And names is being one of them.
It's tough for me because using a computer, you have a mouse and a keyboard, which are like one manner of interacting with something.
Yeah.
So it's ironically kind of hard for me to multitask, especially within OneNote, because I have to go and click through something or search versus a piece of paper where you can grab the paper and have like 40 papers in one hand and read those immediately.
But you're
so
running into a bit of problem. You're saving the world, though, the environment.
I didn't when I was a major in theater.
I also didn't when I first started D&D, man. The amount of papers I print out for you guys.
And like fancy paper, too.
Yeah, I had like so many papers. Yeah, cardstock. Now, screw you guys. You guys don't get cardstock anymore.
Oh, man.
Ryan. Sheet's expensive. What?
You had a lot of time to make a world before you got back into D&D. You had some time.
Yeah, I don't know if we talked about this too much, but we had one campaign that we just kind of started and I kind of created the world as we were playing, but then the game fell apart and I knew I wanted to play again, but it just was not the right time. So for about 3 months or so, I just prepped plot lines, stories, towns, people, politics of certain areas of the world, made about 4 more continents, and then I hit up some players and was like, hey, I'm actually able to, I have time again. Let's see if we want to get a game going. And that's the world that we now play on.
So I'm terrible at, taking a bite off of a large task like making a world and populating villages. When you had that 3-month period, did you just point at a spot and say, hey, I want to flesh out that village, or I want to flesh out that
first I wanted
village?
To die because I didn't know where to start.
Yeah.
I had this huge map.
What do you do?
Yeah, I had this huge map of just emptiness, and it's so hard to figure out how to fill it up. But I more or less, I had basic ideas for certain continents, certain kingdoms, certain cities, etc. And it just was a manner of fleshing those out and saying, why is that like that? And we'll get into this when we talk about making your first town and stuff that I have kind of in my notes. But just kind of creating reasons, and then the reasons can turn into much more interesting things. And you don't have to, like I said, I have kingdoms prepared for that are way away from the current party. I haven't prepared everything about it, not even anywhere close. But I have the basic idea. So if you hear some things about it, then at least you have the basic idea. But you don't want to, as a DM, unless you love world building, you don't need to prep every single thing. I think you'll just die at that point. You become so overwhelmed.
Well, it's weird because it's like a magnifying glass, and every time you've got the world map and you zoom in, and there's just as much detail as you saw in the overview, and no matter how far in you zoom, there's always, it's a world. There's no lack of detail anywhere. Mm-hmm. So when you've got the blacksmith of this town, and you've got a librarian, and you need to populate 2 NPCs in there, how much time do you spend on each, and how in depth do you go? And I know it can alter depending on how interested in it you are in making a lead for this, and putting them with a plot hook. But you've got a librarian and a blacksmith, and you get their name. At what point do you leave that alone and say, okay, that's fine with that's prepped enough, I'm going to move on to the librarian, and now I'm going to go to the innkeep?
Well, a lot of people will tell you that every single NPC you prep should have a plot, like a quest hook. I think that can be a little overkill. Sure, it could be cool to have, but for a party that's already more likely than not on an adventure already, like they're in this town for a reason, or maybe just passing through, to toss them something else, I think can be a little tough, especially if every single NPC has something to give them. It'll be a little overkill. So for small little guys like that, I'll usually grab a name, an accent, some basic mannerisms, almost like you make it a D&D character, you get the bonds and the motivations behind them. I don't really give them a plot line, but I'll give them just a very basic backstory, why they're here, how long they've been there, and that's about it. I don't go into too much detail on these guys.
Well, I don't think they need it. For a guy like me who spends, I bought Code Vein and played the character creator. No,
you have decided to.
No, I got rid of it because I needed to buy some stuff for my guitar today.
Oh, besides the point.
Also, besides the point. Nikki sent me a message saying, so apparently Carrion is the sexy boy of the party. Lol. When did that? What? Did you talk to her about something?
I have not talked about how sexy Braxton's character is. Let me just make that clear.
Okay. I'll ask her about that in a second, but that is also besides the point. I spent 129 minutes on that, and the refund for Steam is 2 hours. So just to boil that down, is I spend a lot of time on characters that I'm making, and I find it hard to stay motivated about making all these other NPCs that may not get touched on.
Well, that's why I say focus on, if you're making a town, I would suggest focus on 1 or 2 NPCs in that entire town that are like the important ones. The other guys, okay. You technically wouldn't even need to prep them. Just maybe get a name for the blacksmith so you're not pulling one out of your ass. And you don't really, I don't know if you notice in some of the towns we go to, the blacksmiths, we'll say just a couple words here and there. Or sometimes I just skip the RP for that type of stuff because just to save time. We don't need to RP every single shopping interaction. Unless the party obviously wants to.
We do a lot of the time. But usually your shop keeps and those people seem fairly developed. There's always some sort of quirk. You really do enjoy the ones that speak to themselves or some sort of entity.
I've only done that once.
Yeah, but we've met him so many times.
He is fun to do, yes. It's like I said, when we did the NPCs and the role-playing sections, I think finding fun little quirks for these characters. They don't have to be super in-depth. Doesn't have to be a crazy accent or anything, but just small, he talks to himself. What's he talking to? Is he talking to a devil, a demon himself? Is there anything he was even talking to? Who knows?
Yes, please tell me. I'd love to find out. Because we still don't know.
Now, I got a question for you, though, Braxton.
I may or may not have an answer for you.
You definitely have an answer for me. Because you've lived in different parts of the world.
Oh.
So, what? Tell me this. What's the biggest difference? And you have to just choose one, maybe 2, maybe 3 if it's tough. What would you say are some of the biggest differences between living in Japan and living in an American city?
So just like the languages, they're pretty stark opposite, but the biggest thing that I noticed was how I was treated.
Okay.
The perspective that the people there had on me and how different it was being so used to the perspective that other Americans have on me versus other Japanese people have on me.
It's like the culture and stuff.
Yes. So pretty much just a clashing in all of the cultures, just kind of nuances and, language is a big thing, but it's really in how my interactions varied with the people in that
especially
town.
Just getting tossed into it,
Yeah.
Having to learn as you go.
I don't know if that changes your perspective, but of course it's the things that were offered there in shops now I'm kind of relating it to D&D a lot, but it's truly the things that are available there, the commodities that are easily obtainable, the food that's there, accents or language. But the biggest thing was how I was perceived and how people interacted with me and how that was different.
And I think that's translating that into the D&D world. If you're making a town, you can make your kingdoms feel unique by maybe you're in one town in one kingdom, and then you leave and go to another one. Make them feel completely different by having the interactions between the NPCs and just the people of that town be different towards the individuals. Because different cultures will experience different things. And maybe that's getting a little too large into kingdom world building, but I think it's the bread and butter and the bone of your towns that you'll be making too.
Well, I've only ever played tieflings. And at first, I don't think we touched on it too much, but more often now characters will either be quick to say that I'm a threat to them or be uncomfortable with my presence. Yeah. And depending on where I go, that's something that'll change.
Yeah, in our last session, he got yelled at for
Yeah, I got actually annoyed at that guy.
Yeah, that's why he realized that and he apologized. He was having a moment too. But yeah, there's certain guys, there's certain people. I mean, just think about the real world. People have their biases. Before we dive too deep into that type of stuff, I think we should start with building your first town. What you want to do? And Braxton, you can help me out here if you can tell me to stop or do anything. You made your first town already, or you're working on your first town still. I think the very first step, and you can feel free to disagree and say what you would think the first step would be, but I think you got to pick where you want it to be, on the coast, on the river, a forest, desert, mountains. I don't know. I'm sure there's other options out there, plains.
Well, what if I've got a really cool idea for a village, but, the location's not as important? I just want this village to be somewhere.
Anywhere. Toss it anywhere. Toss it in.
You got to pick at some point, huh?
You got to pick at some point where it's going to be.
The ethereal plane.
Sure, that could be very cool. Ghostly.
What's the next thing? Yeah.
Well, obviously, so it's there. Why is it there now? Why did somebody decide, hey, I'm going to plop down a flag and this is going to be America? Why is this town where it is? A lot of times, and Braxton, I want you to dive in all the time for this, because your way to prepping is a lot different than mine, just mainly for the fact because I'm a big history buff and you're not. A lot of my stuff is heavily based on cultures and history, and yours is just based on whatever you're thinking at the time. So
yes.
So for me, in history, there's always a reason, obviously, for this town to be there. And 9 times out of 10, they're going to be on a river because they need water, and it's good trade travel pathways, whatever the heck the word I'm looking for. So I would always, try to build stuff around there. Why is this one in the mountains? Okay, they're probably there for mines. They're probably, doing iron stuff. But while we are playing in a fantasy world, there's lots of other options. So Brax, I'm curious to hear what some of your thoughts are.
Well, certainly I have some sort of logic based off of the topography of my map. If it's by a mountain and, I feel like there might be a mine there, certainly I'll center it around that. The first village I made, and this isn't based off the topography, but I had known that I wanted to put an arena there.
Yeah, I was about to say, I want you to get into that for sure.
Yeah, so it kind of centered around that as its, main stage. Everything revolves around that arena. The blacksmith repurposes the goblins that they use as the combatants in the arena. They repurpose the metal, or they use those weapons to give to the goblins so that they can fight in the arena. The tanner often just uses goblin skin. Everything is centered around this to fuel the arena because that's where the money comes through. People come to watch it. So any shop that's there likely is focused on that. The church, hell, that's even attached to the arena because the graveyard is right there when people die. It's all based off of that.
And I'm sure
the mayor. Yeah, go ahead.
I'm sure that was then easy knowing all that stuff, for knowing this Coliseum was going to be there. This arena made it super easy to answer all those questions on why is that here, or how is this being fueled? What's, it was easy to build people and entities around this thing.
So that's I think the thing that helped me a lot. Yeah. And I mean, I got that advice from you originally, and I think I was just kind of thinking about, okay, what's good for a party of 7 players to get into a fighting arena? Okay, just to introduce them to combat, because most of them are new. So everything was based off of that, and our first adventure was for them to go procure goblins from a new cave to supply to this arena for, and this is a long sentence, a lot of commas, the coming of age ceremony for the kids, where they have to slay goblins to become an adult.
Nasty business.
And that all came from, okay, I want to have an arena here. Why is it here?
There you go. Now you got stories and plots to go. But that might be jumping a few steps ahead.
It's a lot of steps because I'm terrible at that.
Well, after you plan where you want it to be, then you don't have to do this here, but it's got to happen at some point. You got to pick a name for it. Again, based in history, a lot of times the city is named after a famous dude. For example, we're going after Texas, Houston. Houston's a famous history guy. Oftentimes it can be named after a location, like I don't know. This in our world, there's a mountain range called the Glaveside, or the Glaves Edge Range, and the village is called Glaveside because it's to the side of the Glaves Edge Range. You could also just, just choose a cool name of anything. You don't have to go crazy like that. But
Okay, so don't
make it easy.
Don't laugh at me yet, but I have no idea if I've given a name to this village.
Well, they're not there yet. It's okay. You got time. You had
no,
2
but
weeks.
they've lived there for a few months. They've been guarding it.
Well, then you can take what I just said to heart.
Ooh, boy.
Grab a cool guy in your world's history. If you don't have a world history, just choose a name or something, and then now that guy is in your history, and you can figure out why he's there. Or just something based on the location. You could even maybe use the arena and call it something, just the name of the arena. Who knows?
Arena Town.
Arena Town. Or, I mean, obviously, fantasy name generators. There's all sorts of cool generators out there for town names if you need the help.
For me, when I prep stuff, I have to have as many tools to expedite my thought process as possible. Otherwise, I get too distracted on one thing. I'll spend the lazy
DM
minutes.
over here.
Yeah, I'll spend 45 minutes on why Justice Cloudfang's talking snake is what it is.
What'd you say?
Yeah, Justice Cloudfang's talking snake.
What is that?
That's Justice Cloudfang's talking snake.
I feel like he's speaking another language. I don't know what's going on here.
No, Justice Cloudfang in my town has a talking snake.
Oh. I'm following now.
Yeah. I don't know why you weren't before.
I didn't know Justice Longfang.
Justice Cloudfang is a talking snake. Is this not common knowledge?
I don't live there. I'm a newbie here.
Maybe you should live there.
No, it sounds like a bad place to live. I'm gonna be honest.
Talking snake. He's a cool guy.
Well, the snake's probably pretty cool, but I don't want to be slaying goblins for my name day.
Well, it's pretty cool. It's fun. You just kill a goblin. They're already kind of dead already.
This guy, he's indoctrinated into his own village.
There may or may not also be a possessed child kept there too.
Well, that could be fun.
Yeah, it is fun.
So names are important. But like I said, they don't have to be step 2. Braxton's been working on his place for a while and has yet to name his city, and that's okay. He can come. Obviously, has to come before the party interacts with it, but there's time.
Yeah, then I got 2 weeks now.
Yeah, you get 2 weeks. Then though, and this comes where Braxton's little Coliseum arena thing comes up. Just decide some major things of this village. Is this just a place where travelers will be passing through? Is it just a tavern, one big inn here, and the family's been working it for generations and generations, or is there something more? Is there what makes this place unique? For example, a large arena. Is there a bee farm? I don't know what the term is. I have it in my world, but I don't remember what it was called. I have to look it up.
Off topic, there were lots of bees out when I was with my parents over the weekend.
Don't get stung, man.
Chicago. Oh, I was so scared. My mom kept trying to swat at it, and my mom's the type of person that has habits, and she will not change. If you give her a new phone, she will freak out about it until she figures it out. It's like, Mom, don't swing at bees. They will sting me. She's like, I will do what I want.
But then they
like,
die, and I feel bad they don't know that.
Stop.
Do you think they do know that?
Stung.
They know. I'm going to sacrifice myself to save the greater cause.
I wish we were like that.
It's badass, actually, when you think about it. Bees are badass individuals.
Do you have an NPC that is like a bee and will do anything for his town?
You could.
Think about that.
Think about it.
Base him off of bees.
Him off of bees.
That's probably how I'll make most of my villages, is having a centerpiece. I think that's the best way for me to start.
100%.
Always. And then the location. And my favorite thing for some reason was when I have a world map and there's just a giant pool of water somewhere in the middle of a landmass.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
and we will have a whole session on world building and stuff.
World building.
Yeah, world building. And I think the best thing you can do, and I've done this before, is make a map or randomly generate a map and then figure out why the world looks like that. What happened? Or there's some weird formation up there in the top right. How did that get there? Make some cool story for it. Awesome.
All right.
Well, you also need to decide if is it walled or is it protected in some other manner, which can, you can have it protected by just landmass, or there's water on all sides except for one, just small little things like that. 'Cause they would not build a town in a place that's not protected. Unless they're idiots.
My village has the arena. That's it.
That's it?
No walls.
Are you crazy? Are you daft?
In the middle of... No, I'm not. You
I'm
want to
sorry.
fight a town that has an arena and all the people there are freaking warriors? No.
Yeah, it's like deciding, hey, let's go attack Sparta. That's a fun idea.
Basically, just a bunch of 13-year-olds who've killed a goblin.
Oh, there's just one goblin. I can do that.
I mean, that's just how the thing works. With Matt Colville, I don't want to take his stuff, but
they'll definitely take his stuff.
What he did with the table he created, he simply made a row, I believe Y is the up and down, so all the Y columns have the places like mill, general store, graveyard, and then to the right are any people that are involved with that. If you do use OneNote, what I do is I hyperlink or use Control K to link them to another tab with more information about that character. That if you're looking at the general town and your character's like, okay, we're going to go to the baker and then the blacksmith, you can prep and you can go to the baker and see that you've got Zane Wheatflow, who also works at the mill. Thanks for laughing at my good naming sense. You click on him and you go there. Yeah. You can see that he's a 75-year-old male human miller. He has soft black skin and he's 5'6", but he's very clumsy.
You know what you can do instead of if you make that tab already, you can just do bracket, type the name, and then close bracket, and it creates the hyperlink already. That was. What'd you say to me?
There we go. I've been trying to remember what that was.
That's what I just said.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah, it's pretty handy. So, but yeah, that's the next step. After you make the reasons why it's there and what makes it unique, you got to figure out who's in it. Population and races.
Who is the mitochondria of that village?
Well, that might be a little too far. But the population and races, obviously, it will depend on what size of a city you want it to be and what your world would be like and what races are going to be. It's going to be a bunch of humans.
What do you do for a massive city?
You want me to tell you? I'll tell you right here. So on all of my cities, I will write down what type of city it is. Like if it's a village, a small town, a large city, metropolis, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'll also write the population size next to it and then a breakdown of its demographics. For example, I'll go to one of our old kingdoms here. We got Holyhead here, which is a small town. Population 2,135. You got to be precise. And it's 95% human, 2% half orc, and 3% other. The other is just like other random stuff. But I usually
do I have to make 2,000 people?
Hell no.
Can I?
Yeah, if you want. If you want to hate your
hell
life.
No, I don't want to.
But I include that number to let me know before I create the rest of the village how big I need it to be, how many different stores need to be in it. Because, if there's 400 people, you don't need as many inns and as many shops as 2,000 people or 6,000, 20,000 people,
Yeah, I always wondered, like, we get to a town and you say, yeah, there's 2 inns here. And I go, I only need 1. It's a very character-centered idea. We need to stop being so selfish. This whole town might need more inns.
Yeah, there's a lot of people coming through, especially if it's on a main thoroughfare.
Man, that always freaks me out, though. Having 2,000 people, I mean, there are tools to randomize and pull up names, but it's
you want to freak out even farther?
Don't do it.
My capital city here, for another kingdom, it's a metropolis, population 285,434, 70% human, 10% elven, 8% dwarven, and 12% other.
What do you do if we show up there?
I hopefully will have prepped the rest of the village before you get there, because I've not touched this one.
I mean, at least
map-wise.
How many NPCs will you have prepared?
I will. So for a big city, and since we're talking about towns, this definitely will come up. No. I mean, this is good. I was not going to mention this otherwise. It's good to ask it. For big cities versus a small village. Big cities, I break up into districts. And then each district's almost like its own little city. Just more themed. Like there's a district that's specifically for the rich folk. There's a district specifically for the kind of slum area. There's a merchant district. There's which is where all the trade happens. And there's, I don't know, X district or butthole district. I don't know, random crap like that.
Hey, whoa.
Sorry. But things like that, I think it's capital cities make it a little more difficult. I think if you want some good examples, definitely check out Waterdeep. there's some really good resources for Waterdeep on how to run big capital cities. And we've talked about this before to help, like, you don't want to prep 200,000 people. Just understand, I would say break up the districts and then choose how many people exist in each district. And this district has 10,000, whatever. And what their perceptions, obviously it might be a little generalizations. Obviously, everyone who lives in Chicago doesn't all think the exact same, but at the very least, just to make the DM's life a little easier. Break down the people and their traits and say the people in the rich district feel this way about certain topics. The people in the slums feel this way. So if someone's walking through and wants to talk to a random NPC, you at least have something to go off of.
Oh, it's so daunting, though.
It is. My party has yet to go to a capital city, but it'll happen soon.
Oh, it's your party now, huh?
Yeah, I'm possessive.
Oof.
Yeah,
so that's the person you just went on a date with.
I'm possessive.
Throwing you under the bus there. No, oh boy.
Nah, I'd say I'm just possessive with my D&D party. Don't worry about it.
I mean, we have been your party for quite some time, so.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to the day where we're like, when we started this 2 years ago?
Man. Yeah,
we
got long gray beards.
Man, I can't remember that town. Man, it was made so well.
20 years ago.
I improv the whole thing.
So after the population in the
reunion?
race, yeah, we'll have our 10-year reunion for the favorite few party.
Man, I know we're all over the place. I'll apologize. It's just late today.
Yeah, that's okay though. We're always all over the place. It's all right.
Always.
But after the populations, again, this is just my list. You can mix these up as much as you want. Governments, I think, will come next. Who's the leader? Is there some sort of hierarchy to the place? Is there are there guardsmen in the city, or is there a militia that the people just do themselves? Is there a council that runs everything? Something along those lines. Why are you making noise?
Hey, gross.
You don't like that? You like figuring out government stuff?
That's my problem. I'm not interested in it at all. I'm like,
that's okay. I think depending on what you're interested in, you can just put less stock on that. Say there's just one lord that
total
rules
anarchy across the entire world.
Sure, you could do that.
But even with that, there's some sort of organized.
Yeah, there's some. Watch The Walking Dead. There's some macho dude that rises to the top. Someone will be the badass.
It's not me.
It's not you. It's not me either. I've told this before, but if there's not some big buff badass dude right outside my door in a zombie apocalypse, I will die. If I don't find a multi-ethnic group of people, then I'm dead too, because that's what it always. Because have you watched the zombie movie? It's always a multi-ethnic group of people.
I mean, that's with a lot of movies now.
You got to get some diversity in there. So if they're not right outside my door, I'm dead.
It's okay. You can be the zombie that attacks those people.
Sure. I'll just call my tiefling friend.
Who?
To come over and hellish rebuke his ass.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, made me so sad with realizing how hellish rebuke works as a racial trait.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Your spell would be a little stronger, though.
I'm so sad.
But governments, as Braxton said, are not the most exciting things if you're not interested in that. Me being a history guy, it can be super easy because I was looking up some history stuff and I really like the way this council worked or something, and I can utilize that and obviously maybe make it corrupt. But this is where your plots come in. The next point, plots.
It thickens.
And I would almost say put plots at the very end of your list, but I like putting plots in here because then it helps you maybe fill in the rest of the list that I have, because then you can decide what issue is this town facing. Are there bandits? Is there a food shortage? Are there monsters attacking the village constantly? Is there political upheaval? Or is there a war going on? What makes this a town that you would want to make in your world? There has to be a reason for this. You don't just want to make a town to make a town.
Can there be boring towns?
There can be, but do you want to play in a boring town? No. You have something going on.
If we're playing for realism?
Who wants to do that? We're playing fantasy. We want to escape the real world.
Damn.
Yeah.
You hear that, guys? He said, screw all of you who want their realism and their immersion.
Well, you got to make sure. You got to remember we're playing a game, first of all. realism has its place in the game, and I would say obviously our games aren't super realistic, but I like at least leaning on the more realism side.
Yeah.
But even still, we're playing a game, we're there for fun. There's got to be something in this village. Or maybe that's actually the plot point. It's super boring because everyone's under the mind of a mind flare. You know, they're all being controlled because and that's why everything's so perfect. It's a perfect, idealistic town, but there's something underneath the surface. People are too perfect.
Damn.
We've
done that.
There's things there. There's plots to be had even in the smallest of details. Grab some of story cubes or something. Roll them. You find 4 different pictures. Okay. What do those pictures mean? Let's turn them into a story.
Hold on.
I keep those on my desk while we play every time.
Hold on. So I just got the news in on why Nikki said what she said.
Oh no.
Apparently, my character, Carrion, who's a warlock and kind of crazy, is at the top of 2 of our party's lists. If they were forced to have a relationship with somebody else in the party, it would be me.
What?
And then she said that Celestia and Briss picked Carrion. Aloric would have picked me if one of us are female.
Hold on, hold the phone just for a brief second. So my players, not my players, people who play in my game, when we're not playing, are messaging each other, talking about who's gonna date who. What is this? What is this, high school?
I don't know. I think Nikki's just going around asking people.
Maybe she's bored. It happens.
She's like, yeah, I don't know. Well, Carrion's a cool guy now.
No, he's not.
So if he was in a village, he's not the suave kind of guy. But you know, you think about who wants to do who in your village. That could be important.
It can be important. Families.
They're all village of bards.
Oh no. It could be a bard college. That could be fun.
That could be fun.
Because technically those do exist out there. Every bard has their own bard college.
If it's in Skyrim, it should be in your campaign.
So bugs? Take that, Bethesda.
Oof. What? Oh, do you think anybody's ever done Skyrim as a campaign with literally everything that Skyrim already has?
Probably. Like, I'm sure there's a Skyrim. I guarantee you could probably go find like a Skyrim world book for D&D or something similar at the very least.
So, I mean, branching off of that, feel free to take some towns that already exist and some modules and repurpose them.
Modules,
are we doing
games,
that a lot?
Movies, shows that you've watched. And like we've said before, if you steal an NPC or something, it can be cool to watch a player recognize, oh, this is from that game I played. This is from that movie. Obviously, don't make it the exact same because then might make it not fun for them to know exactly what's going to happen. But just you can base things off of. And I think
doubt your ability to craft things. Literally every character.
Toss Whiterun in there.
Oh, I've seen that town too much. I couldn't.
Yeah, I hate Whiterun.
Why do you hate Whiterun?
Because I've seen it too much.
What? You see me a lot. Do you hate me?
So the people would probably come. No. So coming up next is people. What's the general perception? We kind of already touched on this, but what's the general perception that townsfolk would, first of all, think of the party, but more generally speaking, what would they feel on an average, just a random guy showing up in their town? How do they feel about visitors? Do they take kindly, or they want them to get the hell out?
Hey, yo, what are you doing here? Get out.
Keep it moving, pal. Give me a gold and leave. And this might be a little touchy for some people, but specifically, what do they have any race biases? Do they not like tieflings? Do they not like elves? Do they not like humans, orcs, etc., etc.? And if you have a particular, crazy party filled with monster races or something, think about how a town will react to a bugbear walking in. It can get pretty dicey.
Is a bugbear just walking into the town?
Yeah, there is a bugbear. We almost had a bugbear in this campaign.
What?
He never showed up.
What?
Session 0, he never showed up. So.
Aw.
He made his character.
I just had a bugbear in my session.
Even drew a little character sheet for him. Yeah, the monster. Huh? The bugbear? Yeah. It was the player was going to play a bugbear.
What?
What do you mean what?
What?
Who
was this?
It was just some guy that I knew.
What? I don't remember this.
I might not have mentioned it.
My players murdered a bugbear this session that I just had.
That's not okay, man.
To be fair, he did knock out one of our players.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. So bugbears are usually monster races, and there are other monster races. If your player wants to play one, I would highly suggest before session 0, or even at session 0, say, okay, you want to play a goblin? Well, just understand most people will not take kindly to a goblin, so be prepared to, just understand that if you want to go that route. If that is the kind of game you want to do. You don't have to have people react that way, but if you want to be realistic, yeah, you do.
What if you have a goblin in your town?
You could.
Or a bugbear.
But then that could be like a monster kind of town, and that could be really cool. Maybe it's detached from the human kingdom, and it's where all the monsters, it's like the island of misfit monsters. It's where they all go to live and have a fun time.
All right.
Away from prying eyes.
So, I know you kind of already said what the most important thing is, and that's location. But at what point do you say, okay, this town is good, it is done, it is ready?
Never really.
Yeah, I figured that'd be the answer.
It's tough to know. I think anything in D&D as a DM, it's tough to say, all right, that's ready for the players to interact with. Because you always want to keep adding things, and I'll even add things kind of to peel back the curtain here a little bit. Sometimes, as a DM, I'm sure people can attest to it, and you might even be able to, even with just a couple sessions under your belt. You'll have a basic idea for what's going on. Maybe there's some mystery happening. But then the party will create a smarter idea. And so you go, you know what? Yeah, that's what's going on. Yeah, that's a good idea. I'm going to steal that. Obviously, you don't say this out loud. But you say, yeah, okay, instead of what I was planning, that's actually what's going on. Sometimes players are pretty smart, man. Sometimes.
Take my ideas all the time, don't you?
No, never. No, I do sometimes, I'm sure. Especially when it's related to your character, which I think is great.
I wildly hypothesize a lot. And especially since I have yet to send in written form my backstory to you.
That's okay.
That's what's going to happen.
But you also need to figure out the economy. I mean, you don't have to. You see, he doesn't want to, and that's okay. You don't have to. But
no, I need to, though.
Well, I think it's easy. What do you think your means of economy would be with a Coliseum Arena thing?
Well, I mean,
the Coliseum Arena.
Well, yeah, duh.
Yeah, there you go. Boom, easy. You're done. Wipe your hands.
Oh, I thought you meant like what kind of currency they use.
No, I mean, obviously they use gold and stuff, but I mean more specifically, like how are they getting their income? Yours would probably be from tourist people coming to come watch the fights, man. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Get in there.
No, I got all sorts of ideas for them at higher levels if they ever come back to this town, which may be kind of tough considering the shape of the world. But I'm excited. He's
excited. That's good. Excited DM means good sessions. Hopefully.
So when a player leaves a town, and I know you're great about keeping the world moving as people leave, but was there a point where you kind of left the town alone when somebody left it, when we left?
Yeah, all the time. If it's not an important city, then it's just kind of, I mean, it doesn't like just sit there waiting for you guys to come back to it. But I mean, it's not like crazy things are happening in this village. Obviously, if I know you guys are going to head back there, I'll try to think of some plot maybe that's happening currently that you guys can maybe get involved with. Like if you're headed to a coastal city and it's fine at one moment and then you guys leave and you could decide to come back. Okay, maybe there's a pirate stuff going on, or there's a hydra out in the middle of the ocean, or people, maybe just even simply people are disappearing when they go fishing. And you guys could take that plot hook if you so wish, but you don't have to. You just know that. And then once you create that idea that people are missing, then unless like we talk about consequences all the time, if the party decides not to go investigate, next time they're in this coastal city, maybe half the population's gone because more people are disappearing, or their economy is taking a big hit because they're not fishing anymore. Interesting ideas, huh?
Very interesting ideas. It's always good to keep in mind that it's not like Skyrim where everything happens based off the player. We talk about this ad nauseum, but always do that. How often do you make maps for your city?
I love maps. I'm a big map guy.
We hardly ever see them because you want us to like purchase maps or find them.
Yeah, which I like. But I like to use the what's the town generator?
I love that thing.
Damn it! What town map generator? What the heck is it called?
Is it the one that
there it is?
Does the thing and the stuff?
Yeah, it's Wataboo, wataboo.itch.io/medieval-fantasy-city-generator. It does some great stuff. It doesn't, because I usually have an idea in my head of what I want it to look like. So I'll just kind of randomize it for a bit and kind of get a basic one that's like, okay, this is close enough. And then I'll go and later and take like not like a figurative marker, and cross out sections and rewrite sections to get a real idea of what I want it to look like. But it's a great starting point. You don't even have to.
How guilty are you of changing it while we're in it? Since you don't show it to us.
I actually don't think I have ever done that. I've done that a little bit in dungeons, just because if I'm drawing it with you guys, I might have just accidentally messed up, or if I'm describing something, I might have, again, just missed it by accident and forgot to mention there was a door there. So like, okay, I'll just move that door here instead, because it might be something cool, and I don't want you guys to miss it just because I screwed up, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So occasionally I'll do stuff like that, but I try not to move things around too much. And it's not like you guys would hardly even notice, you know? Unless you're specifically like, I say you take the left alleyway here, you go for 10 feet, then you go to the right. I usually describe something like that the first time you're walking through a village, but after that, it's like, okay, you go to the alchemy shop. Sure. Yeah, you know the way.
Sure. Fast travel.
Heck yeah, fast travel.
And then that brings a whole different beast once we're able to teleport all over the world.
Oh, kill me.
What are you going to do?
One of our players was just talking about how he can almost teleport you guys wherever to any, to one of his temples that he decides.
Oh boy.
Teleportation makes it a little scarier for a DM, because usually you can kind of use a travel session to prepare for what's going to happen when you guys get to the place. But now if you can just jump from place to place to place to place, you got to be prepared for wherever the hell your party might end up going.
Yeah, I think that would freak me out. But hopefully at that point you would have a world that's large enough.
Exactly. Yeah, at that point you got some places to go.
I don't know. Hopefully I'll be able to do it at some point, but I feel like there's just so much to master in terms of making towns that I don't think I'll ever find a way that just feels fluid for me. My problem is that I get so sidetracked when I'm making something and sometimes put too much effort into one thing, and then I'm like, crap, my session's in 10 minutes. I don't have everything else prepped.
Yeah.
Thankfully I'm good at improving, but
yeah, improv's a good skill to have.
It's tough when
as a new DM. If you're interested in history stuff, there's a great book called oh God, I forgot to write it down.
Don't do it. History's boring as lying.
No, it's fantastic. It's Ian Mortimer is his name. It's the author. I'm gonna find it real fast. Ian Mortimer, Time Traveler's Guide to Medieval Europe, I think is what it's called, something like that. And it's fantastic. Medieval England is what it's called. He also has one for
give it out of 1 out of 10.
No, it's also would I give it out of 1 out of 10?
Yeah. I word that improperly, but
I know I'd give it like an 8. Yeah.
Well,
there's also one to Elizabethan England, but it's basically just very good to describe what it would be like to be living in some of these villages, so you can really get a better grasp on how to base these things. But you also want guilds, like a thieves guild, political guilds. So like this family hates that family. I mean, there should be some semblance of some order, not necessarily with government, but with like a merchant guild, just something. I guess you don't need it in every village. Maybe just more.
This is getting into world building stuff, and we'll save that for the episode that we do on that, which we could probably do next time.
Yeah, world building.
But I'm thinking, in order to make villages with these guilds and these political ties, I feel like you'd need to get on a big world map and kind of section each off with.
And then that's when you get sidetracked, because then you spend 50 minutes working on this guild, and you realize, oh shit, my party's about to go to this village that I just got so sidetracked on.
I mean, that's exactly what would happen to me. I would start making a village and say, oh, I want these guys to have a very large political tie to one of the major families in all of the land, and then I have to zoom out and start making where they have influence, and I'm like,
yeah,
it's hard, and that's probably the problem of me making a world as I'm playing the campaign.
Yeah, but it's definitely can be done, And I think you're handling it well, and I'm sure your players probably will not even notice, and I'm sure they'll be having a fun time regardless.
I'm having a blast with it.
Exactly, and that's what matters.
It's been really fun.
So now, what's the one thing though you think we haven't touched on? I know what it is because I got it right in front of my face, but I'm curious.
It for towns?
Yeah. There's at least one big thing we have yet to mention.
Give me a hint.
Buildings.
Is it buildings?
It is buildings. We haven't talked about. So you got the people, you got the plots, you got the government, you got the population. They got to live somewhere, right? They can't just be sitting out in the open. Well, they could. I guess
that's how they do.
But you need some bars, some inns, some taverns, an armory. Obviously, you got to fill up the staff. And I like having some frequent visitors for some of these fun places. Like maybe there's some weird guy that heads to the magic shop that the party will bump into every so often. And then obviously other things that make sense. A magic shop if it's a bigger town, or if you're doing a high magic campaign, then a lot of them will have magic shops, alchemy shops. Maybe there's a castle in this one village, a palace in that one. Temples and shrines. Again, depending on the type of campaign you're running, if it's fantasy or not. Religion is usually a big part of cultures, so there's usually some pretty big temples and shrines in these fantasy medieval villages.
Yeah, it's something I'm trying to look at right now with the Forgotten Realms gods.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of information on them, so it's pretty easy to...
Thankfully, the NPC generator uses the gods from the Forgotten Realms, so that integrates really well.
I was going to say right now, my one issue with the Forgotten Realms, and one you'll probably run into too, which is why I made my own deity list, is there is a lot of them.
There's not that many.
What do you mean there's not that many? There's a lot of them.
Give me a second.
You just type in list of Forgotten Realms deities.
Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
That's a lot.
38?
That's a lot. 38?
Oh, that's not that bad.
What do you mean it's not that bad? You gotta memorize all those guys.
No, you don't. You gotta use the ones that are there.
Yeah. My deity list is only, I think, like, not too big. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then there should be 7 here. Yeah, so I got like 23, 24.
Trying to see if there are any of the iconography that are related to my patron.
No, none of them would be related to your dude.
Want to find out at some point. Eventually.
I think that's good for... obviously, definitely use bounty boards and quest boards.
Oh, yeah, that could be really cool.
And
we haven't used those too many times.
No, in this campaign you guys have only found one that had anything of use. Yeah. That's because there's already a lot of plots going around. If I tossed more your direction, you'd probably have an aneurysm.
Oh, so, yeah, no.
Then I don't want to do that.
It's getting real tough.
Yeah, so I would only suggest using those to start off, give them some early, quick, easy quests to kind of take out. It also is a great way to just give the players a sense of what the kingdom is like, what the world is like, by seeing what's important enough for people to put onto the wall. I always love going to in Witcher 3, there's these big bounty boards where you get all your side quests, and there's some on those that aren't even quests. They're just people complaining about stuff. And I think it's really cool just to see what's going on in this village. Why this guy does not like his neighbor because he's cooking at like 5 a.m. or something. He's being loud.
I just got a guitar, so hopefully I don't bother
start pissing people off.
Nah, it's got headphone plugs. But I think if we've covered what we wanted to tonight, since we're running out of time, what I want to do at the end is go on Ask Reddit and see. No. It's just so fun. Like, listen to this. What looks easy peasy, lemon squeezy, but is actually difficult, lemon difficult?
Oh, opening a pickle jar.
Nah.
What do you mean, nah?
Nah. Top comment is drawing something from memory, like a bird or something, in mind. Yep, that's a bird.
I think paper. Drawing in general, man.
Yeah. Ooh, this guy got a gold and 2 silver. I use a wheelchair, and people usually don't believe me when I say that getting around can be difficult because many of them think that pushing a wheelchair is easily. Literally, they tell me this. Oh, yeah. Okay.
I would imagine it'd be tough, right?
Yeah. more fun one is probably what pickup lines have actually worked on you, Ryan? You've had any in your lifetime
Yeah,
that have worked on you?
They're not pickup lines, but so my last relationship, lasted about 2.5 years. It started off because she asked me if I prefer soggy or dry cereal.
Wait,
and I typed up.
Wait, hold on.
I typed up a huge paragraph on which ones I prefer. I never thought about it.
I'm sorry. Repeat the question.
Okay, so do you prefer your cereal not dry and there's no liquid on it, but do you pour in the liquid and pour in the milk and then eat it immediately, or do you pour it in and wait to let it soak and then eat it?
I prefer it a little soggy. I don't like too much of a crunch.
Okay. So is that how you would respond if someone asked you that? Just that short little sentence? See, I respond with a gigantic paragraph. I wish I still had it so I could read it out now. What was it? It's a huge paragraph. And she was so floored that we dated on. We started dating on the spot. No, she was interested, and we started. She had it was on a dating app, and she had it for fun, just to dick around, and that's how it got started.
Yeah, most of my interactions on dating apps have gone that way with long conversations.
I have
this
another
guy,
one.
in too deep, but I can swim. Said, not him, but he saw a roommate get laid once by saying, "So do you have a bed?" And she goes, "Yeah, you want to see it?" And they disappeared and met them later at a different place.
It's not a pickup line. I guess it is.
Yeah, it is.
Here's another one. This is actually the lady I just went on a date with. She said to me, "Hello, I'm a thief and I'm here to steal your heart."
Phantom Thieves.
Boom.
You never see it come. Sorry.
Oh. I'm going to be singing that for the rest of the day.
You want to hear what Camel Farmer 1 said?
I would love, when I woke up today, you know what I said to myself?
What?
I cannot wait to hear what Camel Farmer 12 said. Was it 12?
Yeah, no, 1.
Yeah, dang it. I can't wait to hear what Camel Farmer 1 says, and 12. So, yeah, hit me with it.
Okay. He saw this girl going through Tinder on her phone. He said, "I've got a tip for your Tinder." And when she asked what it was, he said, "Delete it and go out with me."
Nice. Did it work?
They went on a couple dates.
Oh, just a couple, so it didn't work.
Just a couple.
Well, I guess it picked her up, right?
Whoa.
Oh.
Wait, hold on. Peg Shop. A cute 20-year-old walked in the music store he worked out in the late 80s, chewing on a straw. He's normally shy, but he pulled out of his... Wait, what?
What did he pull out? Excuse me?
Hell? Hold on. Analyze this. A cute 20-year-old, just a cute 20-year-old, walked into the music store that they worked in the late 80s, chewing on a straw. Normally, they're shy, but pulled it out of the person's mouth and said, "May I help you?" Whoa.
That seems extreme.
So then this person left their number and said, "Let's put a bottle of champagne on the receipt." They're 20.
What? Why would... Oh, this was the 80s, though. It was a different time. But
what the hell?
If someone stole my straw, I'd be upset. That's my straw, jackass. Give it back.
They called after marriage, 2 kids, and 21 years. He died. Damn.
He died, poor guy.
See, now if you just make towns with NPCs of this level of depth, you'd be golden.
What? Okay, let me ask you this, though. Sure, that's true. But will your party see any of that?
I don't know.
Probably not. So be prepared to understand that you might put in a lot of work to things and your party will just skip over it.
But think about it, Ryan. This is a key of acting. There's a lot of stuff behind the doors that don't happen in the play, in the film, that your character's gone through. You gotta keep those in your mind. They fuel everything.
At the same time, though, with that said, you don't want to force anything upon your party. Let's say you spend a long time on this NPC and they didn't meet him. Do not force the party to interact with this guy.
Yeah, you got to be okay with just not.
Yeah, let him come up at another time. Don't go out of your way to say, "Oh, he shows up in front of your face." Ah! You know, don't. You don't want to. I wouldn't really consider that railroading, but it's definitely on that path.
Sorry, I'm still reading these.
Got any last things here before we end it up?
I don't know if this is okay to say.
We are an explicit podcast because we say some explicit stuff here.
Are you sure?
Sure. Yeah, we can always cut it if it's really bad.
I remember a girl in college at this is by Hollywood.
Is this the same
DC
pickup one?
Izzle? Yes.
Okay.
I remember a girl in college at a party asked if I wanted to play Pearl Harbor. I said it depends on what it was. She goes, "You be Pearl Harbor, I'll be a kamikaze and blow the hell out of you." So that, on top of her being easy, worked on me.
Goodness.
The historical analogy was a nice touch. Next comment by 249BA36000029BBEE9749 said, "Was she Japanese?" Next comment by not to the person who posted said, "The downside is that if you break up with her, you have to drop bomb twice before she gets the message."
Oh. The pickup line, though, I'm going to be honest, is pretty clever. It is pretty clever.
Yeah. Would you use it?
Hell no. I'm not a big pickup line guy. You know, I don't think they work. Sure, they can make someone laugh, but is that
what else did you do?
You start talking to them.
Isn't that what a pickup line is?
No, pickup lines are
talking.
Yeah, but it's usually some cheesy, stupid line that you found probably online.
You don't like puns?
No, puns are great. I love puns.
That's what pickup lines are.
Yeah, but a lot of pickup lines are terrible, man. You want me to read you one?
Yeah, go ahead.
Because I was trying to find one to respond to her with. Man, there's some terrible ones. I'll read you this terrible one. "Aside from being sexy, what do you do for a living?" What do you think? I feel like I'd get punched if I said that to somebody.
Yeah, probably.
Is your dad a terrorist? Because you're the bomb.
Isn't that the same thing as the Pearl Harbor one? Just a little less
creative? It's the same
idea,
yeah. Did the sun come out, or did you just smile at me? Jesus.
Yeah.
I may not be a genie, but I can make your dreams come true.
What about this one? It's two-parter. Do you like peanut butter?
Yeah.
Wanna fuck?
Wait, what?
Regardless of the answer, that's what you say.
I feel like we just jumped from A to B there, or A to Z, and I missed the rest of the letters. Imagine though. Okay, so if someone said I'd be out. But if someone said this too, I feel like this would be a little too possessive already. We just met. Are you my phone charger? Because without you, I die.
Oh, boy.
Yo, dude, we just met each other, okay?
I don't know. What if you're looking for that? What if you're looking for the whole ball and chain?
The whole ball and chain when we just met each other?
Yeah, man. Love at first sight.
That would. Yeah, love at first sight's different than that, though.
No, I don't know.
What do you think, JD?
No, JD squeak.
Oh, he mad. You're just gonna hear him, I guess. Well, on that note, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for listening to the Dungeon Crawl while we waffle tiredly about towns and pickup lines.
Thank you so much for joining. This is my favorite pickup line. I hope you've enjoyed. I've been Braxton.
I'm Ryan.
He's there. There you go. Thanks. Tyler McMahon said, "I asked my current boyfriend out by saying, 'Fuck you, date me.' Surprised at work, but here we are." Thank you, everybody. Have a good night or morning or commute, whatever you're doing. Follow us on Instagram at Dungeon Crawl Pod
and Twitter,
or email us at thedungeoncrawlpod.
Send us your favorite pickup line.
Give us some idea. Sorry, nothing beats "fuck you, date me." I'm sorry. Goodbye.